There's certain video topics that come up out of necessity. Today's video is one of those. So we actually got a new keyboard in our church and I am very excited about it. This is the one. It's an awesome keyboard, but this is actually my first time on it myself. So with every new keyboard, there's a whole new learning curve to it. So this video is basically we're just gonna dig into it, learn all the features, get into the functionality of it, how it all works. Now this particular keyboard, although it can do everything you can think of, on this video I'm only gonna touch on a couple different topics, things that we would use ourselves for our live sound when we play. So we have a song set list, and there's certain transitions that we'll be doing between songs, and so I'd be covering certain things that this keyboard does well for that. I'll be going over layering, setting that up for yourself. So I'm going to be going over how you can create those sound patches. You can store those sound patches. You can actually blend the sounds within that patch just right there on the go. And so that makes it very convenient for what we're trying to do in the live sound setting. So those will be some of the things I'll be going over in this video. So let's say that you're not a keys player and you're really not interested at all in any of this stuff that I'm about to go over. You could actually go ahead and stop the video at this point, but before you do, you could actually still go ahead and like the video, subscribe even, ain't nothing stopping you. It doesn't hurt. Actually, it might even help, because this channel, we go over all kinds of things, music. And so, that's all there for you to do. That's optional, but it's highly recommended. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a good thing to do those things. And yeah, so yeah, all right, moving on. All right, guys, so this is the Kurzweil PC4. This is the new keyboard we got for our church. So just get ready, because your mind's about to be blown. All right, so I'm just kind of mess around. So I know we have we all each have our own personal preferences as far as what keyboards we like, but by the time I get through with this, I'm hoping y'all would be just all on board with this keyboard. It is definitely a beast of a keyboard. I'm only going to go over certain features and functions. I can't go in depth through everything, but I will go over at least many things that will be very nice and convenient for us to know as we get into this keyboard. So before I start playing and getting into the sounds, I'm just kind of gonna give you an overview of how the layout is on the keyboard. So first of all, over in this section, we have 9 sliders. Now these sliders all do different things, and for the most part, they actually are dedicated to whatever is written here. So for example, this is a reverb. That reverb will just give you control the reverb on the actual patch. So you can bring in more reverb, less reverb. You can turn off the reverb altogether by turning that button, and now it's just completely off. Turn it back on, bring it up. And then these buttons up here controls the different rate of whatever thing is here. So when I change this, it says reverb time. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but it is doing something. So yeah, that's what this section is for. I won't go over what all these buttons are, but here's your main display. Now over here on this section, we have program. So program is what Kurzweil calls your sound patches. All right, so all your sound patches, they're under program. The next one down is called multis. So multi is basically multiple sound programs. So multi is multiple programs. So you can actually create a multi that has up to 16 different programs. So yeah, that's intense. I don't recommend doing that. So, but theoretically, you could have one multi, just have like your whole song set with just one multi. You have 16 different sounds in there that you can turn on and off as you go. Or, yeah, but yeah, that's a bit intense. All right, so the other two I'm not going to go over because I'm not going to spend too much time, going over every single thing. Plus, I need to learn them myself. I don't know anything about it. So, all right. So real quick. Now, there are categories here. So right now, I'm in the piano category, and I can just scroll through them. Or I can type in a number. So let's say I want number 10. So instead of scrolling through here, I can hit this button. It's called Keypad. And then just actually type in the number that I want, and number 10 gives me the blues piano. So I just pick the random number. So you could type in the number that you want, or you can just kind of go through the different categories. So that's pad category, and just kind of go through what they have there to offer, the EPs, your electric pianos, and so on and so forth, right? So, and then there's a few other controls over here. I'll go over that a little bit later. But basically, that's the breakdown of the layout of the keyboard. All right, so first of all, pianos. All right, check this out. I like this concert piano. So I'm gonna tell you something. You know, I like pianos. Y'all know me. I'm a piano guy. So I'm instantly drawn to this piano, and I'll tell you why I prefer this particular piano from Kurzweil above all other keyboard pianos. And that is simply called Steinway Model D. Right, so I've always liked the sound of a Steinway piano. And you know, all these keyboard companies, they claim to have sampled from a Steinway piano, but come on, I mean, we know better, right? So I believe for the first time in history, in my lifetime, we actually have a keyboard that actually has like a real, legit Steinway piano sound. It's just such a pure tone to it. So the other thing I like about it is that they sampled this piano and they did it right. It's the actual. It just feels like the piano's up in my face. You know, it's not far away. There's not a whole bunch of reverb on it. It's not like, you know, it's not like them shiny red keyboards that sound great. There's a nice piano sound, but there's a ton of reverb on it. So you got this nice worship sound, but the piano sounds far away. You know, I just don't trust it. I'll be honest with you, I don't trust it. It sounds like they're trying to hide something, putting all that reverb in there. This one is just honest. It's all there for you to hear. So you can find one that has a lot of reverb. Like, for example, there's this one over here. Where'd it go? Dark and Distant. You can go searching around for whatever patches you like, but the cool thing is that, like I was showing you earlier, you have the controls right here. So let's say you wanted to do some elevation worship songs, right? There you go. All right, so let's say you want to really kick it up a notch and do something like you know, You start playing that with the reverb all cranked up, you know, somebody's gonna jump in, start singing "What Would You Do?" Before you know it, y'all having some church. So there you go. Anyways, my style, I prefer to crank it down. Over here, this button brings in your string resonance. So string resonance is, you know, on a real piano, when you're playing a note, it's not dry, you know, it's not like that. You actually other notes in the piano resonate with that note. So you can bring up that feature, maybe add some of the reverb together with that. And you got just a very nice sound, very realistic. And see, I like this, for example, if I'm just doing piano, like if it's a piano solo. Now, but in the mix, like the whole band is going, I actually will bring these down. And I want more of a dry sound, so you can cut through better in the mix. So there's other pianos, so they didn't just sample the Steinway, they sampled a Yamaha C7, so that's where this comes in. It's kind of a cool sound. I like it. It's very, it cuts through the mix. So it's punchy. That's a nice punchy sound to it. It does not have the very long sustain like the other piano, the 9-foot, but you wouldn't expect that from 7-foot. But it's kind of a cool sound. It has its applications. They also have the old school, what you call it? The old school Kurzweil piano sound in here, which, I mean, why? You know, you already got these newer sounds. Why go back to the old ones? So anyways, that's that. All right. So let's move on. So there's some nice EPs in here. So you got the, you know, the various road EPs. There is also the fancy Tyne EPs, you know, the nice pretty ones like from the 80s and whatnot. So that's kind of cool. Just moving on, I don't want to spend too much time going through these things. Now, if you dare to get into the string category, I must warn you, these strings are incredible. You might get a little lost getting into strings. I'll be honest. Out of a keyboard, I haven't heard any strings like that. Crazy. So I'm not going to spend too long getting into the strings. I'm just telling you there is some really nice stuff in there. All right, let's get into pads. So some pretty cool ones in here. All right, let me show you this. Check this out. This is another feature that these keyboards have that is amazing. I'm going to tell you. So I'm holding down the pedal, right? So you still hear that pad going on. Look at this. Look at what's happening. I'm switching patches and it's still holding on to that sound. I can start playing. It's still holding on to all those notes. The previous patch and now this patch. gonna let that go. But you see what's going on here? This means you can have smooth transitions between songs. Like you just finished up the last song, now we're switching to another song. So I'm gonna hold the pedal, switch over. Look, see on the other keyboard that we're using, once you do this, once you switch patches, it cuts off. This one doesn't do that. So, in fact, I can play this over top of what it's still holding. It's still holding on to those other notes. All right, that's enough of that. So, isn't that pretty cool? That is pretty cool. I don't care what y'all say. That's cool. That's some cool stuff. Like, check this out. So that's pretty nice, very convenient. Check this out. All right. What's that? Hey, buddy, what is the tempo on this song? Oh, it's 70? Oh, let me go ahead and adjust accordingly over here. So that's right, you can actually change the tempo of the rhythm that the pad is doing just on the fly like that. All right, now just next to that button, there's a tap button. You can tap the tempo. So I'm gonna bring it back down. Let me see. I'm still too fast, hold on. Back to 120. Let me go slower. It automatically adjusts to the tap tempo I gave it. So that's pretty cool. All right, I'm just gonna quickly play some other pads that I like. There's some really nice ones in here. I think you guys are gonna dig it. So some of these I like to add with my pianos. Just fills in the area, fills in the sound really nice. This one is one of my favorites. Has a nice orchestral sound. So there's some pretty cool synths in here as well. I think you might dig it. So you hear that delay going on. You can actually crank that up if you like it. Or you can just bring it down. It's annoying, right? You can actually change the timing of the delay. Yep. So it does all kinds of weird things. Some of these patches have some motion in them. So I kind of like that one. That's pretty cool. You also got some nice synth lead patches in here. So like for example, so that's kind of cool, you know, if you're into that sort of thing. Now some of these are they have lots of depth to them, so depending on how you play them, the sound of the lead changes. So depending on how you attack the keys, the sound of it actually changes, which is kind of cool. All right, moving on. So you got brass and wind. I'll just skip over that. Ensemble here. All right. Let me just explain this real quick. I highly recommend you don't get into ensemble, not because it's bad, but because once you get in there, you may get lost in the world that you might not ever return from. So there are some amazing orchestrations in that ensemble category. I have not ever heard such nice orchestra sounds out of a keyboard. I mean, it's literally crazy. I'm not gonna play any of that and go over any of that, but just to let you know, that's there, and just be careful with that because it's crazy stuff. All right, the hybrid category's got some more just kind of weird stuff in there, but also kind of cool stuff. And yeah, so those are the most of the categories here as far as all your programs. Now under multis, this is a multi that I did. So let me show you how I went about doing that. All right, let's start with the piano. All right, so I like this one here. Right? So let's say I want to layer that with a pad. There's actually a really fast way of doing it. There's a button over here on this side. It's called variation. If we click on that, all of a sudden there's a pad behind the piano. So that variation button's already pre-programmed. So the engineers that came up with all the various sound patches, they put something else behind it. So all you do is hit the variation button. Depending on what sound patch you got going on, it's a different thing on that variation button. It's just something that they already pre-programmed. All right, so that's one way of going about it. Here's another way. You just add a layer. So, and the way to do that, there's a button right here. It's called layer. So if we click on that, boom, it just put a layer on it. So this one put studio strings. Let's say I don't want that string. I want to put a pad. I can actually go over here to the pad category, and it just put that first pad there on it. I can change that pad to whatever pad I want to use, you know. And let's say, you know what, I changed my mind. I don't want to put a pad. Instead, let me put an EP. Get that nice stacked EP sound. And before you know it, we're back in the 90s. Now check this out. Volume, I can adjust the volume of that. I'm gonna put that one at 90, so it's not as loud as the piano. But wait, there's more. All right, so this is one way of going about it. There's other buttons and functions that have lit up that allows us other controls, but I'll get to that section in just a moment. Let's say I'm not done with this. Let's say I want to add yet another layer. I can go ahead and do that. I'm going to zone 3. I'm going to turn that on, and I'm going to put something on there. I'm going to go ahead and put a pad this time. I don't want that pad. Let me get that nice soft pad. Here we go. Wait a second, I don't hear it. Well, because I didn't turn it on over here. So make sure the pan at 0 is all the way to the left. 64 is in the middle, and you go above 64 is to the right. I'm not sure why that's that way, but that's how they have it. So I'm gonna put it 64. Put the volume on this to be about 90. So that's kind of cool. But wait, I'm not done. I want to add yet a whole nother pad. Let me go ahead and turn zone 4 on. Do the same thing with, actually, let me go ahead and, I'm going to just leave that first pad on there. And I'm going to do the same thing, put it 64 for the pan. And then I'm also going to put this, you know what? I'm not going to put this one at 90. I'm going to put this one around 55, 60, because that particular pad could easily overwhelm the other stuff. So you hear at the very end there, that evolving pad is coming out and just kind of shining up, brightening up the whole sound there. So that's pretty cool. You can do all that just from hitting the layer button, and then boom, you just created your own sound patch. Now there's a save button here. Let's say you like this how it is, hit save. Now it's gonna save it at number 4100. That's just the next one in line basically. So, and then you can rename it to whatever you want. So I'm just gonna go ahead and name it B. I don't know, just because I want to name it B. So now that's saved there. As one of my multis, I just named it B. Check this out. Now we're gonna move over to this section. You notice these buttons over here, they just lit up purple. So basically this switched over to a different function. It's basically kind of like a mixer mode. So we have our piano on number 1 here. So if I were to bring that down, guess what? The piano, you don't hear it. Piano's gone. But don't do that. Don't just bring it down. You can actually turn off the piano if you wanted to. So go ahead right there, push that button. You see how the piano's just off. I'm gonna turn off the EP. So now I just have pads. Wait, I don't want pads. I want the piano back on. Piano and EP. All right, piano and just the pad. Bring this pad up louder. Let me bring in the other pad. I want to hear that other pad louder. And there you go. Just like that, you have full control over the sound live. Just as you're going, just boom, it's all right there. So you're welcome. I know your minds have just been blown, but that's the power of this machine. Of this machine right here. I'll tell you what. Now, I mentioned that you can put up to 16 different programs in a multi. Whenever you're doing it this way, when you hit layer, it only allows you up to 4. There's a different way of going about it as far as doing up to 16 different programs. I won't get into that. Honestly, I just like this, just having the 4. I don't want to go any more than that, just because it gets to be a bit overwhelming. And just with 4 different layers here, you can just kind of go on the spot. So there you have it. Those are some of the really nice features of this keyboard. Well, wait, there's more. I just realized there's a whole nother thing. So check this out. You've went through your programs. You like some of the sounds and you know what you want to do. You got some multis going on. You already saved some multis, and you like what you have there. but you don't want to just keep hitting the numbers or go back and forth between the different sounds. So there's a quick way of saving all the sounds that you like into one place so you can have easy access to them. And that is called quick access banks. The way to get to that is right here, there's a button that says view. If we click on that, it brings up bank 1. So under bank 1, I preset these sounds to have ready for me. Now, as soon as I get into this view, the quick access banks, this over here changes to the keypad function. So now if I want to hit number 1, so that's one of the multis that I created. Let's say I want to do number 3, piano string. So there's that. We'll go ahead and do it's all right here. That's just bank 1. You know how many banks they have here? Here, I'll show you. 50 banks. All right, so here's the thing. I'm going to use up bank 1, 2, and 3. So the rest, you guys can go ahead and have at it. You know, save your presets on other banks that are not 1, 2, and 3, because I want to save those and have my stuff in there. So yeah, you know. Oh, I'll show you how to do that. Let's go over that real quick. Okay, so bank 4. I'm going to go to bank 5, and bank 5, and let's just say, let's say I'm going to save this patch there under one of my, I'm going to save this patch as number 1 in bank 5. So I'll just push and hold number 1, and boom, it just saved it. Just like that. So all of a sudden now I have that one as number 1. If I click number 2, it's going to switch over to the next one. Go back to 1, brings that back up. There you go. You just saved something in bank 5. So yeah, so I'm telling you guys, this is just the best thing out there right now. So you have all your controls, your sliders, you have your programs, your multis, you have that smooth transition between different sound patches. See how it just keeps holding? You have that smooth sound transitions. We have your multis where you can have 4 layers going on at the same time. We have your quick access banks where you can access all your saved sounds and to, you know, to get to it really quickly. So that's, telling you, this is it, man. So all right, you guys, just yeah, just get into it. It's really cool stuff. And yeah, I'm gonna leave this video here, so hopefully you enjoyed it. And yeah, all right, cool. Okay, bye.